Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This is super exciting.
Yeah, so why don't we just get started telling me where are you based and what has your gymnastics journey been like as a whether you did it as a kid or not, and how you're doing it now as an adult.
Okay. Right now I'm in Lubbock, Texas. I'm a professor at Texas Tech. I'm a political science professor. And right now I work out with the Texas Tech Club gymnastics team. But I started tumbling when I was about 7 years old. I'm from the Dallas Fort Worth area. I grew up in a small town called Boyd. Um, it had like 1,200 people. And so I was doing tumbling because I was a cheerleader, and I also played basketball like a few years after that. But I was really into tumbling. I always watched gymnastics on TV. I wanted to be just like Shannon Miller and the Mag Seven. So I always looked up to them. And I remember the 1996 Olympics. I watched it like crazy. I watched everything, and I'm pretty sure I still have the videos on VHS that I recorded. And I remember doing round off back handsprings from my kitchen into the living room while watching it, and round off back tucks. I had room to do that, and I just told my mom, I was like, I want to do all four events. I want to try that. So the closest gym was in Fort Worth. It was about 30 minutes away. Uh, and I started, at a low level. I just went a couple times a week, and then I advanced to the team, and I was able to compete. And I worked out 3 hours a day, 4 days a week. And at the time, it was kind of hard on my parents. They both worked 12-hour days, so there were some days that my mom would drive me to work, and then, or excuse me, drive me to gymnastics, then drive back to work, and then come back and pick me up. So they were really, really excited when I got my driver's license. So I did competitive gymnastics until I was 18. I competed level 5. I had some injuries here and there. I was doing gymnastics and basketball at like the same time, and I got stress fractures in my femur bones. And so I ended up having to pick one or the other. And of course, I chose gymnastics. And I made it to level 6 my senior year in high school. I didn't compete because I was one of the only girls in the gym still there. And I really wanted to enjoy my senior year. So I would just go and work out a couple times a week. And around that time, I developed some body image issues. I was a girl who hit puberty really quick. And I remember watching on TV back in the 90s that they would post the height and weight of the gymnast. And I look back on that now, and I'm like, why would you do that? Because not every gymnast is built the same.
I remember that completely, and um, I remember even when anything over like 90 pounds was so rare
Yeah.
that it made 90 pounds seem like a horror show. And of course, I mean, I'm 5'1", and I think I hit 5'1" at 14, and then I stopped growing. So by then I was already like 90 pounds. And so like in my mind, and mind you, like if people know my story, I didn't actually compete anything as a kid. So I was recreational. I was not even around any, like all the things that you hear about, like coaches being abusive. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it happened in the gyms that I went to, but I never witnessed any of it because I was like in the kind of like this discard pile. But I still had body image issues because of how our media has treated gymnasts. And like, we're not wrestlers. Like, why do we need to see? Why does it even matter for the audience to understand anything?
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the culture right now is getting a lot better. People are speaking out more about stuff like that. I was just always really hard on myself about my weight at a young age too. I was one of the shortest girls in my class. I'm barely over 5 feet, and all my friends were like really, really tall. and I'm very muscular built. That's just how I'm built, like a Sean Johnson. That's yeah. Um, anyway, so I had those body image issues, and I went off to college. I went to the University of North Texas. There was no gymnastics team, and it was like gymnastics was my life. Like, what am I supposed to do? Um, and I started taekwondo classes, and I did that for a long time, and I was pretty dedicated to that. I ended up getting my first degree black belt, and it was a lot of fun. I would go like Monday through Friday, 1 hour a day, and stuff like that. And then I met a guy, and when I met him, he was in my class. We're the same major. He is now my husband. But those body image issues, they carried over to college with me. I had a really bad eating disorder in college. And when I met him, I weighed about 104 pounds. And I knew I needed help, and I sought counseling they have free counseling at colleges. So I sought that out. And once I met him, he he obviously knew there was like no food in my house or in my apartment, and he like helped me really get through it. Like we worked out together. He taught me how to cook because I didn't really know how to cook. And then I wanted to go to grad school, and he wanted to go to law school. So in fall 2007, we moved out to Lubbock, and I started grad school. And then 3 years later, he started law school, and we both finished our degrees in 2013. And I was just working, I'm very fortunate to work at the department I got my degrees in. It's fantastic. We have a great department. And I was always trying to like find something that's to work out, like how to keep me motivated to work out. I tried doing insanity, and I was like, I don't really like this. I want to flip. And I tried yoga. I was like, this is too slow. And I thought about taking ballet, and my dad goes, Sarah, you're just not going to like that. He's like, he goes, you're going to think it's too slow. And by this time I was already following the Texas Tech Club Gymnastics Facebook page, and I just never really paid attention to it in grad school. I was like, oh, I can't do that, and I was so busy and wrapped up in school because it was real hard for me that I just didn't really think about it. And in fall 2016, they posted that they were going to have their first practice of the season. Just bring your Texas Tech ID. And I messaged them. I was like, any ID? Because I have a faculty ID. Is that okay? And they're like, yeah, it's fine. And I went in there, and I was so nervous because I knew these were all students. They were undergraduates, maybe a couple graduate students. I didn't know. And I didn't talk to anybody. And I knew a few of them knew that, oh, she's faculty, she's coming in. And I didn't talk to anyone. I was shy. I mean, it was just like, I was nervous as a professor going in, and I'm sure they were. If they knew a professor was coming in, they'd be nervous too. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to do gymnastics. And I was sitting there stretching, and this girl came and talked to me. Her name was Wendy, and she introduced herself, and we talked for a little bit. And to this day, Wendy is still one of my really good friends. In fact, she came into town this last weekend, and I got to see her for the first time since for like a year because of the pandemic. And by then I was like, oh, I'll just go to practice like twice a week and, see how that goes. And I kind of did my own thing, and they kind of did their stuff. I couldn't really do a lot of stuff they were doing just yet because I had been out of the gym for so long. And I didn't compete in 2017. I was still like, working out. And then our club hosted a meet, and it was the first time I got to see any NAIGC meets. And I said, I can do this. And I went home, and I told my husband, I was like, I'm getting serious about this. I'm going to compete. The gym's going to be my new home away from home next year. what do you think? And he was super supportive. He's like, I know you love gymnastics, just go for it. And I have been there ever since.
Well, I think that's amazing. Um, and there are a lot of questions I want to ask you. And I'm sure other listeners might be wondering, like immediately, like, is that something that I don't know if you know this is do all club teams basically just require a an ID for the college and then you can practice, or do you know if that's unique to your college?
I'm not sure about other colleges. I know that if you want to compete in AIGC and you can find a gym, you can compete. When it comes to the club teams, I'm not really sure how other clubs do it. I'm not sure if there's any other professors out there that go works out with the students. I have no idea,
You know,
but I'm very, very fortunate for my position. So,
yeah. Um, what has it been like? So it's been about 4 years now that you've been doing this.
mhm.
What has it been like in terms of have you had any teammates who were your students, or does that kind of make because I can tell you like when I trained as an adult with like my next oldest teammate was I think 11 when I was 25. And it was funny because they didn't treat me like an adult. Well, I also looked young, but it's
Mhm.
funny, like, you know, they were preteens and they were like snarky and like made fun of each other, like, and sometimes were like, would be mean when somebody couldn't get a skill. And they were like that to me too. And I was like, this is weird. You would think being an adult would have an advantage, but I'm wondering if, um, it wasn't always like that. It got better. Um, I think I learned how to be assertive from that experience. I was never assertive before in my life, but I had to be. I had to learn how to put little kids in their place without being rude or, you know, showing
Yeah.
that to me. So I'm wondering what it's been like for you, if that's even been an issue.
No, it's been really great because each each semester we have the first practice, and we invite any interested students to come in. And I don't introduce myself as Dr. Norman. I introduce myself as Sarah, and they call me the team mom, which I love. And I found out that's not because of my age, it's because I always have snacks and a foam roller and all this stuff in my bag and uh, all this stuff. Yeah. No, at the beginning, I think we were all kind of trying to figure each other out. But there, that first team that when I competed, and I competed the first time I competed was 2017 to 2018. We're all friends. We do virtual happy hours now. They have graduated, and we still all keep in touch. And they actually thought I was maybe a grad student when I started because I just didn't really say anything, and I don't unless it comes up. Um, but no, they treat me like a teammate, and I couldn't ask for anything better. Because when I go in there, it's about doing gymnastics. I'm not their professor there. I'm just someone that's much older doing gymnastics with them, and it's been really great. And I've had so many teammates come and go, and that's kind of one of the hard things about it. Like, I'm always going to be here, and we have freshmen coming in and they leave when they're seniors, and I get to see them, grow as people, and then they go start their lives, and I'm still here. But the experience it's been really good. So.
Has there been any reaction from, I know you said you don't bring it up unless it's asked, but I'm wondering if the university is aware and if they care. Um,
Um, I don't know if they are. They haven't. If they are aware, they haven't said anything. My department knows I do gymnastics because I will go wear my team gymnastics shirt and a blazer when I go teach class, and I tell my face to face class like, I'm a member of the Tech Gymnastics Club because when I do teach face to face, I make all my students go around the room and introduce themselves, and we talk about what student organizations we're members of, and I always bring up Tech Gymnastics. But my department's always been really supportive. They think it's cool. Um, So yeah, I don't know. Like I teach primarily online classes, Intro to American Government and Texas Politics. And those classes right now I have 3,000 plus students because they're online. And since it's required by the university in the state of Texas to take those classes, I do some of my teammates end up being in my class, but I don't know it because there's 3,000 students. And if they tell me, great. If not, I have no clue. And I prefer it if they don't tell me. Like if you have a question about class, email me during business hours. But when we go to the gym, none of us want to talk about school. Yeah.
I love that you wear your team gear to class and kind of in a very simple way, you're just letting them know that it's a thing that, you're a professor and obviously a college graduate and you're still doing gymnastics. I think there doesn't necessarily have to be fanfare and media coverage. That's what we want. We want it to be, normalized so that it's just like being a member of the yearbook staff.
Yeah, that's funny. I was actually a member of the yearbook staff in high school. uh, no, I love telling people about it. And, I always like tell my students, like, hey, if you want to just come jump on the trampoline a few times a week and get some exercise, come do it. It's fun, and gymnastics shouldn't have to stop when you finish high school or you finish college. And I love that adult gymnastics is really getting coverage and we have a voice and we're using it.
How long had it been when you first stepped into the first team practice? How long had it been since you had trained any gymnastics at all, like in a gym setting and not just maybe practice skills at home?
Okay, let me do some math here. So it had been about 14 or 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm 37. I graduated high school in 2002, and that was like the last time. Yeah, and then I started in 2016. So it had been a while. And after the first practice, I had to bring a heating pad to my office because I was so sore.
Yeah.
That still happens.
That's incredible that you went in 14 years later and showed up, but you probably thought about gymnastics a lot in those 14 years.
I did. So I always got a wild hair or like this urge to do gymnastics after every Olympics because I love watching gymnastics on TV. My husband did not know how big of a gymnastics fan I was until 2008, because that's like the first Olympics we shared together while we were dating. And he was like, oh my gosh, you're like so into this. Because we started dating in 2006. I was like, yeah, I am. And you're going to have to deal with it forever. But after every Olympics, I would call gyms here in Lubbock and I would be like, do y'all have like an adult gymnastics class? And none of them did. And then I was like, oh, Tech Gymnastics Club. I'm never leaving. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. It just reminded me, I called a gym on Friday. I saw something on Instagram, this gym in LA. They were like, team tryouts and placements are this week, like call to sign your kid up. And I just called. I was like, I didn't even say my name. I was like, hey, like, are adults allowed to try out? And like, we're a kids gym. Like, oh, but do you have anything for adults? Like, no, we're a kids gym. Like, if other adults like were interested, would you? And this woman was very nice, but it's like, and I was like, okay, fine. It's like, when you said that I wonder how many of us have through the years just like called now and then. It would be funny, like that. It just gives me idea, like if we had like a campaign where it's like everybody call 5 gyms today.
Yeah, I can do the statistics or data collection on it. Yeah, I'll do that.
One gym just got 10 calls in one day. All the voices were different, so they knew it wasn't a prank, just asking about adult gymnastics. I mean,
I think that would be really cool. And I don't understand why gyms don't have adult gymnastics classes, even if it's like once a week. Maybe coaches are used to just coaching kids. I have no idea. but adults have money to pay for these classes and they're going to go because they want to be there.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure a lot of gyms would prefer to have the parents like busy doing something rather than just like watching the practices, like from the window,
exactly.
the ones that do. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So
yeah,
yeah, I wish that would become a thing, like gyms, local gyms having an adult gymnastics class. And it doesn't have to be like power tumbling. It can just be like cartwheels and rolls and jumping on the trampoline and beam drills and stuff like that. Because people like it's moving around and getting exercise. So and
right,
having
right.
fun.
I'm surprised in the year 2021 there's still gym owners like or people that work at gyms that hear questions like that and they're just like almost shocked. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's interesting. So yeah, you had a 14-year kind of break in between official training. So what is like pre-pandemic, what did the workouts look like for you? How many hours and how many days per week were you going?
Pre-pandemic, it was usually I tried to do 2 days a week of gymnastics, and then I tried to work out on my own at home. I always had to schedule it. Like I hated going to gym the nights before I had to teach because I was really tired. Because practice then was 7:30 to 9:30 at night, and I would have to get up and prep for class, and I'd be tired. But no, it's like 2 times a week, and if it got closer to competition, I would try to go as much as I could. Post or now that we're in the pandemic still, I had been out of the gym for an entire year since up until like a few weeks ago. I finally went back. I'm only going once a week. Uh, Once a week, I can just do beam drills and some trampoline stuff right now. In January 2020, right before the pandemic hit, I my right leg went numb. Yeah, it went numb, and turns out it's like neuralgia paresthetica. It's kind of rare, but it can. It's sometimes it happens from weight gain, and it's also in my right leg. That's my lead leg. That's the leg that I split with, and so I'm sure I irritated it doing that. But it's like this pinched nerve in my leg. Anyway, once the pandemic hit, I started working from home. I'm still working from home. So I've been quarantined basically for a year still. And I was working out, like trying to stay in shape. I bought a floor beam and trying to get cardio and lifting weights. And I was like, but I kept gaining weight. I was like, what is going on? And then in July of last year, I found out I had hypothyroidism, which my mom has it. So I knew I'd probably get it or at some point. But I was just like, to have to be right now when I'm stuck at home. I've dealt with that, and I'm probably like in the worst shape I've ever been in, but that's okay, and that can be fixed. And I'm okay with that right now. I don't have those body image issues like I used to, and I know that uh, I can work out and everything will be fine. But going back to the gym has helped me so much mentally from COVID and being in quarantine. I teared up on the way to my first practice, teared up on the way home, and then kind of ugly cried when I got home because I was so happy to be back in the gym. And I got to meet some new teammates and got to catch up with old ones, and it was really great. And I really hope we can compete in 2022. That's my goal. So,
Yeah. So when you say you went back to the gym, you've gone back to like Texas Tech practices?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just doing it once a week. The semester is almost over, and I work out on my own. Uh, Cardio, weight training, calisthenics, just as much as I can. And I try to stay active as much as I can because I'm at home. So I go on a lot of walks and stuff like that.
Well, I have two questions about your training. And the first one I'll ask is Um, you mentioned that in college when you met your now husband, he really helped you with a lot of the body image issues. But you hadn't done gymnastics then for like since you graduated, and then you start again at Texas Tech. I'm curious about like how having resolved those issues a lot, like did you come into the gym now, like did it affect how you learn or how you train or really how you look at just training overall?
Um, yeah, I my husband like kind of he trained like he helped me with weight training and stuff when we first met, and I learned how to do a lot of that. Um, when I got to Texas Tech, like I didn't no one cared. I mean, you're there to do gymnastics, and um, it. I found out that I could still do so much stuff that I did as a kid or as a teenager. It just hurts a lot more the next day. But no, I don't know. It. I'm thinking. No, I don't know. Like going to the gym now and stuff. I just do it for fun. I do it for me, and uh, yeah, I want to be healthy and in shape, but I want to work out safely and just be mindful of like healthy eating and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to be an overall healthy person that does adult gymnastics.
Yeah. How are the workouts structured at Texas Tech for your club team? I'm curious because I was briefly on my high school gymnastics team, which I think is very different, but we didn't really have much room to learn skills. It was a lot of just conditioning and kind of open. It was basically like having an open gym all the time, which is somewhat great. But I remember for myself feeling frustrated because I didn't have a lot of skills. So I could only, there's only so much that you want to be doing like the very basics over and over again. So what does that look like for you in terms of whether you work out as a team together or you learn things or how does that go?
Um, right now, it's kind of open gym because we don't really know if we're going to have a competitive season next year. Uh, Before the pandemic, I think everything was a little more organized. Like we would stretch, and then we would be like, "Hey, let's go to beam or let's go to bars and or floor." Or half of us would go one place, half of us would go to like another event, and all my teammates they were like super helpful and like helping get new skills and stuff like that. And a lot of my teammates actually coach at one of the local gyms, and they can help me with skills if I need help or tell me, I need to put my head up on this skill or have better body lines or like stay tight if I do another skill. So they're very, very helpful. Because I coached a little bit as a teenager and I didn't like it because I'd rather be doing gymnastics than coaching it. Um, so yeah, post or before the pandemic, I like kind of made a little workout schedule for myself because I was only there a couple days a week. Um, so I would go to like beam and floor or bars and vault and kind of alternated each day. And I don't compete all four events, or I can pretty much do everything but swing bars. I cannot swing bars to save my life. And I did compete bars once, and I just got up there and did two back hip circles, and I dismounted, which was cool. But I really want to get my kip, so so I would. I had a list of all these things that I wanted to accomplish, like new skills, and I knew enough. Like for beam, I would go in and do floor or do routines on the floor and then get on the high beam and do drills and then do like half routines, then put it all together by competition. So
Yeah, yeah, that sounds awesome. Have you ever thought of, or have you ever gone to like pre-pandemic, I guess, an open gym or an adult class at like I guess a public gym? and use that to supplement it, or is everything like you're just kind of getting all of your gymnastics needs met with the college club team?
Yeah, I'm getting all my needs met at the college club team. We work out at a local gym in the evenings.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's great. But no, as far as I know, none of the gyms in Lubbock have any adult classes. So all my needs have always been met with the club. I love it. Oh, we have some really great people that can do big skills, and we have people that just come in there to have fun. And I always tell like people, if I'm talking about it with my class or just to people in general, it's like, you don't have to compete, you can just come in there and work out, and it's so much fun. So
Um, has there been any unexpected challenges or like nice surprises that have come from your training situation? Because it is pretty unique, and I hope will inspire other people. I'm like, now I'm like, maybe I should take like a night class at UCLA, and they have a club team. I'm wondering how that works, but let me see if their club team is even open to like anybody with an ID. So I'm, yeah, like wondering what
or I would contact them and just be like, hey, I want to do adult gymnastics, and I think they can do, I think they do NAIGC. And I'm like, and just ask. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Unexpected surprises. When I came into the gym, I didn't know that I would have such strong friendships with my teammates, and that's really cool. And I'm twice their age, and uh, the and it's, I don't know, it's just really neat. Like, I mean, like I said, some of the girls that have graduated, we have virtual happy hour, and we catch up. One of them is getting married in September, and I can't wait to go. And Wendy, I don't, if she hadn't talked to me that day, because I was so shy and nervous, I don't know if I'd like be there. I don't know. But no, it was great. Yeah, the unexpected surprise is definitely the friendships. And I guess me wanting to keep doing this as long as I can. Uh, Now like having, like, not being able to go to the gym during COVID. I hated it. It sucked. And because that's like my happy place. And like I said, it's my home away from home. And I couldn't imagine life without gymnastics. So
Yeah, I totally understand, and I also have to agree with you that the community you find within gymnastics, as well as like adult gymnastics specifically, is just unbelievable. I because I had no idea personally that there were so many people that wanted to do gymnastics beyond what was offered. Like, it's pretty limiting. Like, even looking back, I think you and I are like the same age. Like, looking back, what was available in the 90s for people who weren't like automatically like kind of looked at as, oh, you're going to the Olympics, so you get
yeah,
this treatment. And not everybody can or will be identified as like some future whatever. So yeah, I have to agree that the people you meet in this sport are really like half the reason I think any of us can, maybe more than half the reason, can keep going.
yeah, having that support system is great. And I feel like just seeing the adult gymnastics community on social media, everyone's like super supportive of each other, and it's so neat. And I can't wait for there to be a competition to where like we can meet in person at some point. Um, yeah, it's really cool. And another unexpected surprise. I did not know I'd be team mom, but when I'm competing and they're like, "Go mom," I'm like, "Hell yeah!" It's cool.
I have to say that one thing that stuck out that you said was that you have a foam roller with you in your gym bag. That's preparation.
Yeah, I have a roller. I have like an elastic band I bring all this stuff with me, and at competitions, I'm like, well, I need snacks. And oh, I don't know if my teammates remember to bring snacks. I better bring some for them just in case. And I always have extra hair ties and stuff like that. And extra like phone chargers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people find you on social media?
Okay. This has been great. Like, thank you for having me. Like, when you asked me, I was like, wow, like, is my story, like, is it that neat and talking about it? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Uh, on Instagram, I've created a new Instagram account for gymnastics, and it's Storm and Sara Norman. I thought it was funny. It's it's and then on Twitter, I'm at RS Namron. It's just my name spelled backwards. But yeah, that's where I'm. And Texas Tech Gymnastics, they also have social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and so does the NAIGC. And I just think that NAIGC and the TGC Gymnastics and Tech Club Gymnastics, everyone, it's such a great positive environment to do gymnastics. And if people want are interested, they should definitely check it out, because it's really cool when you go to a meet and Texas Tech and A&M are cheering on each other, and so it's great.
That's awesome. Well, I'll be sure to link to all of those in the show notes. And thanks again. It's been awesome talking to you.
You're welcome. Thanks again for having me. This is so cool. I love your podcast, and I love that adult gymnastics is becoming such a big deal.
It is. It is. Yeah. Awesome.